only reason I can do that is because I've taken the time to understand where these keys are going. How's it going, guys? Jacob here. I'm going to give you a quick tip on how you can practice your jazz improvisation. To show you this, let's use the changes to a jazz standard. I've been playing the changes to Out of Nowhere. So that's the basic changes there. For practicing improvising over something like that, there's things to consider. There's lots of tonal shifts. The key, you sometimes feel like you're in this key, and then all of a sudden we feel like we're in another one. And those changes happen pretty quickly. Like we start in G major, but then all of a sudden we're in this other mode, which really is making us think of A flat. We never really get there. We go back to G. How do you go about improvising over something like that? So rather than go into a lot of specific bebop language or licks or things that you've been practicing, stuff like what you're going to do is just take it way down simple to just the modal moves that are going on, the modes. And modes, of course, we can think of like scales, just a collection of notes displayed in a linear fashion. And in this case, the mode that we know the best is the major scale. So you could start this out thinking about G major. But to get a better handle on the shifts that are going on, what you're going to do is just stay between those two notes. You really can pick anything. It can be the range of a fifth, it could be a whole octave, it can be up and down the keyboard. But for right now, we're just going to do from the G major scale. And what you're going to do is stay in that range, but change modes as you go, or changing scales. So if we start in G major, now when we go to the next chord, we need to shift to the key of A flat. And back to G. And what you're going to do is do that through the changes. What is going to be hard, but I want to encourage you to do, is don't think about swing, don't think about accents, don't think about even melodicism or repeating ideas. You're literally just getting the sound of the modes in your fingers. What you're also trying to do is anticipate the chords if you can. So before you get to the next change, try to get there a little earlier. So let me demonstrate. So how I kind of threw a note that was a little bit out just before the chord changed. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you want to try to do is keep it as linear as possible, so just moving by half steps or whole steps. Occasionally you might throw in a different kind of interval, but the point is to be able to do it without stopping and do it at any tempo, because if you can do that, and trust me, if you can do that, you will be able to improvise much better on the changes and do it at tempo, at faster tempos. Because Out of Nowhere, there's contrafact of it too that's even faster, that's like... The only reason I can do that is because I've taken the time to understand where these keys are going, and I can play the scales that go along with every sequence of chords. So I'm going to do it through the whole changes slow. I also kind of cheated and went more than an octave. I'm going to see if I can make myself stay within an octave. I'm going to do it up here from G to G. And I'm just going to hold the chords in the left hand, real simple. Right? This is not like performance level practicing here. This is regimented practice. So, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I made it halfway through the changes, but the second half of the changes aren't that different. You do get one other 2/5, which is interesting. So the second half, do it a little bit faster now. Also, I'll do it faster, and I'm going to use the whole keyboard, because once you get good at doing it in a smaller range, which actually can be a little bit more challenging, you want to be able to play up and down the instrument when you improvise. You want to just start somewhere kind of medium, maybe medium range, and be able to go up and come back down. So I'm going to do it from halfway through. And really pay attention, and again, it's a hard thing to do, especially like this when you can only move scalar, but I'm going to try to anticipate the chord and try to change the mode a little bit before the chord changes. And there you go. One more little thing I noticed that I was doing in this last one is adding some chromaticism here and there. And that's when these very kind of plain scales start to sound a little bit more jazz. They start to sound a little bit more in that bebop language, which you generally would probably go to playing over these types of changes. And so that's where, instead of just having a major scale that's really plain, you start adding chromatic notes between different notes in the scale. Or you might add a whole lot of them, but of course you got to know how to get out of it. So part of it is finding these little sort of chromatic passageways that get you from chord to chord that make sense. And you can analyze going from chord tone, this one's a passing tone, non-harmonic tone, all the theory, but you just want to be using your ears. If it sounds good, it is good. So things like this. So some of that was kind of clunky, but it was really nice how I ended up getting to the G chord on the third. And that's the lesson. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any questions, put those below. Remember to like, subscribe, click here for more videos like this, and go to sweetwater.com for all of your music instrument and pro audio needs.